All right, we're going to be going a little bit more in depth on the ban list here, and I want to talk about some of the misconceptions that I think the community is jumping to about this, which is absolutely hilarious, by the way. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So, the Dark World structure deck is dead on release, according to half of this community, because macro and dimensional fissure went to 3. That is the dumbest take that I've heard from this community in a long time. And the amount of people that are, just like, yeah, bro, macro and di-fi, yeah, this is crazy, bro. Like, I tell you what, man, this changes the format so much. Public service announcement from MCOL40 here. Macro and di-fi have been at 3 in the OCG for years. You know what it's done? Nothing. All right? Yeah, dimension shifters at 2 there. Yeah, sure, macro, di-fi, and dimension shifter are all at 3 here in the TCG. But I got to be the bearer of bad news for you here. Not every single deck is going to play all of those cards. I also hate to be the person to tell you this, but if you open up too many of those bricks, you're not gonna be able to do the thing. So here's my take on the Dark World structure deck being dead. The structure deck already has problems with tier running around. All right, if you resolve a Dark World effect and you're like, yes, we're doing this, and your opponent's playing tier, well, congratulations. They can now resolve their tier effects because they went to the graveyard. Yay! And you're worried about macro and di-fi. The best deck in the room literally feeds off of your discards, which means that you can't play the game without getting punished by them capitalizing off of your cards. And you're worried about macro and di-fi over here. Trust me, all right? I think that on a local level, the deck will catch some people off guard. And I mean, there's going to be people out here that are going to be so sick of the game that they're going to be bulking down on 3 macro, 3 di-fi, just to counteract the format. That's going to happen. All right. But to say that the structure deck is dead on release because of those cards coming, people thought when Engage moved back off of the list that the format was ruined. It did nothing. All right, we saw Skill Drain come back to 3. It did more than Engage coming back to 1. All right, you know what Skill Drain at 3 is doing right now? It's in like 1 tier side deck out of every 40 list because they're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I don't give 2 shits about what my deck does. Like, I can Skill Drain you. Wow. It's like that works. Flounder will be one of the few decks that will consider going to the extreme of, playing that many, banish cards. And I just want to re-say this, but I don't think it's dead. All right? Stop it. All right? Please. All right? Stop getting worried about things. Now, on the topic of macro di-fi, yes, they are here. That's a lot of floodgates that you can play. I did mention at the beginning of this video that there is something called playing too many of, a floodgate. 3 macro, 3 di-fi, 3 shifter. Some Grand Manju decks playing 50 cards, I think we'll enjoy that, but, it's kind of just that, alright? I really can't think of anything that's going to want to go that crazy. Maybe, like, post-side decking, I would care, but macro and di-fi at 3 is scary. What is this? This is the first time in, like, 10 years that I think that I've seen those 2 side-by-side. And I'm some random old duelist that's just excited to dig out my old floodgates and get the chance to play again. So there's that. Now, I guess I should probably talk about tier 0 tier and all of the tiers that, the teary-eyed community is tearing up because it is ridiculous. The tier is still tier 0. Okay. So Herald of Orange Light and Curious were cleanups for last list. I've got a working theory right now that this is just a temporary list. February is when Photon Hypernova comes out. All of everybody that's like, this list is so bad, I'm quitting this game. I kind of agree with you. It is a little bit disheartening, but I think that this list is designed just to be a December, January list. When Photon Hypernova drops, they can clean up the Ishizu package and send us back in a time machine. I'm fine with that. If I have to look at this format for 8 weeks and maybe 9 weeks and that's it, I'm okay with that. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt when we're heading into week 7, week 8, and, the sweat starts dripping down my forehead after, this. But for, patching up the holidays, Konami getting out of the office here, this is exactly what this feels like. Is it great that Tier is in the position it is? Yeah, I guess. The only thing that, I think a lot of people, besides, everybody that's, dancing around Mystic Mine finally being gone, I would have loved to have seen Mine stay another 8 weeks. They could have cleaned up Mine when they took away the Tier 0 deck. It would have been interesting to see another 8 weeks with that. But Mystic Mine finally getting removed from the game is a win, in my opinion. It's just, they killed a lot of Rogue when they took it away, and now you're kind of looking at the format on the top end of things. You're like, yeah, Flunderies! Yeah, Tier! Yeah, Sprite is kind of down below, doing its thing. With the loss of Mystic Mine, I mean, things like Exo Sister, some of your other roguish decks, that Sky Striker got blown up in a crater somewhere. I don't know. Sky Striker will never be the same again. But yeah, the loss of Mine does change up the rogue dynamic pool. Once again, you no longer have to cite a mass amount of spell and trap card. Hey, oh wait, Macro and Diefire at 3. That's been the funniest argument I've seen from players. Yeah, you finally got Mystic Mine banned. You're like, congratulations. Now you have to side for 6 spells and traps instead of 3. Congratulations, it just got worse for you. So I am kind of curious to see how the application on that end is going to go. But that is something interesting as well for the community. So some little thoughts on that. But the list does feel like it's like DLC part 2 of the last list for what should have been done. Ptolemaeus and the whole little thing that people are now looking at since Satellar Knight Diamond, oh, this is really cool. I mean, you're still going to need 3 level 4s to get maximum value, and then to top things off if your opponent. Oh yeah, this is my favorite part. Well, Robbie, Satellar Constellar Diamond is actually the best card. Now we can beat Tier. All right, I tell you what, man, this is amazing. Then your opponent has the Kelbeck in their hand. Oh. There went my entire investment of that. I've loved that argument so far. It has been my favorite. It's just, oh my gosh, this huge anti-meta monster. It's amazing, and it's gone. Thanks for having me out, Duelist. Isn't that great? They have a main deck out straight for these types of things. Yeah, you can argue that they have an out for Dweller too. Sure. I do think that the card is really cool in the mirror match, for sure. I mean, kind of like Mass Change 2 with Darklaw, kind of being a free win con. Having a free win con in the form of that definitely can steal you some games. And I think that that's one really big thing to maybe consider is maybe your toolboxing options could allow you the chance to play that, but it's just that. Also, I mean, there's that. So yeah, that's the state of the format. Same shit, different day, I think is the best phrase for this. I was kind of looking forward to getting the chance to play Runic. Oh, I should probably answer the question, because I've actually been asked by a couple people. Robbie, what are your thoughts on Runic right now? Yeah, Mystic Mine's gone. I think the deck can evolve to some capacity. We still have Sprite. I mean, it's not like you can't play the Sprite variation of the deck. The Shizu package is still running around at full steam. That's one big thing that you gotta be kind of wary of, is gonna be your interactions with that. So I would say for the most part right now that it's gonna be a pretty slopey time for this. I think you will see Runic cards go down. That may be a good time to want to consider picking them up as cards do particularly get cheaper. But this list, the community says a lot of shit, I've realized throughout the years. Some of it is always hilarious to see at the end of the day. But I think that it's the same thing. It's the fear of the unknown. The community is like, oh my god, macro Diefire! And then they're just like, oh. After a couple weeks of testing, you're like, oh, these don't make much of a difference. That's why I use the OCG example, even though people will argue with me till the end of time that, oh my god, these cards, Max C makes a difference. Yeah, Max C impacts whether or not Diefire and Macrocosmos C play. No, that's not entirely true at all. Actually, that's crazy talk. But alas, that's my thoughts currently on the list. So, Di-Fi, Macrocosmo, get ready for some interesting local stories about how your life got turned upside down by your opponent opening up 3-dimensional fissure and you couldn't draw all the outs. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.